Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, simply enough, thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everybody. Tonight is Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. This happens to be live stream number 1140. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And then I'll normally pontificate about something related to our hobby. And all throughout the month of January, Tuesday nights are Cthulhuesday nights, because I am taking a deep dive into a Call of Cthulhu adventure every Tuesday night throughout January. And tonight, I am going to actually take a peek at the relatively introductory Call of Cthulhu adventure, Mister Corbitt. Well. Yes, but of course, we're going to tackle the tabletop gaming news first before we jump on into that. And of course, I should also mention, when you're not watching videos here on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews. Whoa, heck. Oh, here we go with the music. All right. Damn it. I bumped the keyboard. Damn it. Hey, that's what happens. It's a live show, right? Anyway, when you're not watching videos or watching me screw up the live streams, you should swing on over to thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. Come on, you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And of course, because this is a live stream, there is chat available. It's not on screen. One of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you happen to be a subscriber to the channel, and you have been for at least 10 minutes, you can take part in chat. So if you want to say howdy, maybe get a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Sean O'Donnell. Bradley Thorpe, our good friend, the Madman, is also with us, as is Semper Buffo DK, who I believe this might be a first time visit in chat with DK, Pete Strakolich, and I think that is everybody. I believe so. And I will not be shocked if the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D happens to be lurking in the shadows as well. So welcome aboard, everybody. It was a crazy weekend. Crazy weekend. Yes. Well, thankfully, it was not the Duct Tape Studios portion down here that flooded. But we did have some flooding. And yes, it was not a natural event. So, long story short, we've had an issue with the pipes that go into the washing machine. So, of course, my dad keeps playing around with it because one of the spigots was leaking or whatever. So every time he messes with it, it gets worse. So he's screwing around with it, and he's like, I'm going to do some laundry. So he's playing around with it. I'm like, yeah, okay. So I'm like, I'm running out to the store. So I ran out to the store, and he was getting ready. He was going to go to church. So I come back, and there's water everywhere. So it turns out he had taken the hose off of the washing machine, started everything, turned on the water, left to go to church. Yeah. Anyway, so Cheryl asking, pipes or melt? Melt down is more like it. Thankfully, it didn't really destroy anything. And yes, Sean O'Donnell is correct. It became a shop back weekend. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. So I didn't get as much done this weekend as I was hoping. So that was kind of irritating. Anywho, Richard Harris and Zorak Zoran 1 are hanging with us in chat tonight. And yes, Sarah D is poking out to say hello from the shadows. All right, gang, let's jump on into the news, because currently up for crowdfunding from my friends over at Columbia Games is the deluxe 50th anniversary limited edition of Quebec 1759. Here's the scoop. What is Quebec 1759? Quebec 1759 is a small, simple, and short block board war game covering the conflict between the British and the French in Canada during the French and Indian War. The game comes with a gorgeous map drawn in the style of the period. Movement is conducted via a point-to-point system following the roads and towns in the area around Quebec. The game comes with handfuls of blocks to represent the British and French units. It's a stunning upgrade. This enhanced edition celebrates the 50th anniversary of this legendary board game, featuring a new map and cover art by Richard Lusek, along with updated block labels which now match the board's color scheme, bringing a more cohesive feel. The rules remain unchanged, preserving the classic gameplay. Quebec 1759 was the first Columbia block system game that actually innovated wargaming. The game information for each piece is facing the player, but not the opponent. This allows a fog of war aspect of play that allows for an extra layer of subtlety to gameplay. It allows for feints, bluffs, and outright surprises. Also, it has step reduction built into place as well. As units take damage, they're simply rotated to show their new strength. It's an innovative design that's been a fan favorite for gamers in the know for years. Well, the reality is, for decades. There is a short Kickstarter video, so let's take a peek.
A strong British force has arrived at Quebec City, intent on taking it. The French defenders have the advantage of time and terrain, but are no match for British regulars in pitched battle. I'm Grant Dalgleish with Columbia Games, and I'm excited to tell you about our plans to re-release the classic wargame Quebec 1759. Quebec was first published by my father, Tom, in 1972. Vancouver, Canada. Today, I'm announcing a 50th anniversary edition of this classic game. Quebec 1759 is an elegant wargame that sets up in minutes and plays in under an hour. Every game is a unique challenge, and victory can swing to either side. Celebrate the game's 50th anniversary with this exquisite edition, which features a beautifully mounted map board with new artwork by Richard Lusek, jumbo 1-inch game pieces, and is a truly deluxe presentation. Quebec 1759 revolutionized wargaming with its innovative mechanics. Fog of War, hidden movement, and a step reduction system for simple combat are among the innovations that established block game genre. Since its debut in 1972, Quebec 1759 has been a popular title among wargamers worldwide. Today, more than 50 years later, the Columbia Block wargame legacy endures. Experience a legendary piece of wargaming history with this limited edition 50th anniversary copy of Quebec 1759.
The Kickstarter for Quebec 1759 is past the 200% funding mark last time I looked. You can reserve a copy for a pledge of $79. It'll have an eventual MSRP of $89 through February 9th. And if you're kind of curious as to Quebec 1759, well, I just happen to have shot a video for it. That's right, I put it out there yesterday. It is a Kickstarter preview, but I did provide a review score because the reality is this is the finished product. So check that out if you would like. I will say that Quebec 1759 is a very nice introduction to not only to Fog of War block war games, but just the war games in general. And it plays in about an hour, so you can rock it out pretty quickly. So, Showdown asks, is that the one that's titled Quebec 1795? What? Hang on. Oh, I tell you. Let me see. Let me bring this up. That wouldn't shock me. No, it says 1759. I was like, wait a second. Unless it's showing on the Gaming Gang website, which I don't think so. I don't think it's showing that. No, 1759. I don't know. I think Sean's just trying to mess with us, gang. I think that's what's going on here. Why I oughta. All right. Oh, yeah. There you go. Sean O'Donnell got him. Okay. Who do we got? The Madman? Do me a favor. Ban Sean. Boot him. No, I'm joking. Please don't do that, though. I mean, you just threw a wrench in the whole show, making me go and take a look to make sure that wasn't, titled wrong. So Bradley Thorpe mentions, hey, Jeff, I just bought Campaign Builder, Castles and Crowns in Cities and Towns. Really awesome books. Very good. Very cool. Very cool. All right, moving right along. How about some role-playing game news? Because launching earlier today on BackerKit was 5th edition fantasy Terror of the Underdeep from Goodman Games. Here's the lowdown. The giant clans have allied, and no one knows why. Hill, Stone, Frost, Fire, Cloud, and Storm giants now work together to collect Electrum. Their tracks lead to an abandoned city of the Underdeep. In these lightless caverns, sinister cultists give the giants offerings to a misshapen Kraken lord. Can your adventurers uncover the secrets behind this wicked alliance before it's too late? Tales from the Underdeep is a colossal box set for 5e D&D. This adventure path takes characters from levels 8 through 16. It's going to keep your group adventuring for about a year. The huge box is packed with books, maps, handouts, pre-gens, and tokens. It includes 17 chapters of adventure with over 450 pages of content, 3 huge poster maps, cardboard punch-out inspiration tokens, hundreds of encounter areas, over 75 new monsters, plus tons of maps and player handouts, fully detailed NPCs, new magic items and new spells, pre-generated characters for immediate play, stretch goals, and even more useful Dungeon Master tools and expanded play with those stretch goals. Right now, you can reserve a copy of the Terror from the Underdeep box set with those extras and PDFs for an $88 pledge through February 11th. Now, I should mention, I do not know when Goodman Games is expecting to fulfill this because it is on BackerKit. And I will tell you, 9 times out of 10, good luck trying to find when anybody is actually planning on releasing anything after they've successfully crowdfunded on BackerKit. Drives me bonkers. I searched all over. There was even a live stream today from Goodman Games after this had launched. I went over to check out the live stream to ask in chat, when is their expected delivery on this? And they did not have a chat. I was like, come on. So if anyone out there actually finds out when the expected delivery is on this, I'm expecting a year. That's usually how Goodman Games operates. It's normally about a year out. But still, I don't know. I find it very unusual when you have companies crowdfunding and then they don't want to tell you when the expected delivery is. And I think that's why some of these companies are turning more and more to BackerKit, because it seems like BackerKit doesn't require you to tell people, to tell potential backers when they can expect to receive their goods. I don't know. I don't know. Beast Racklitz says, this looks cool, but I definitely need to pick up the Tome of Adventures slipcase. It's a doozy in price. Someone was mentioning the, yikes, the price on here. That is for the box set. I do believe that if you only want the book, you can get the book. I think it's $49-ish. So, Gleeman RX is with us, said Goodman Games, our plan is to send all the books to the printer around 30 days after the crowdfunding ends. So they're hoping to have them to the printer by mid-March. And that was a response to a comment. Excellent. Thank you very much. Yeah, because once again, I spent probably about 15 minutes digging around trying to see if I could find the damn expected delivery on this. So there you have it. So I would say, okay, so normally it's about from the time the printer will get a print run, it's about 90 to 120 days. So I would think we're probably looking at fulfillment within 6 months. That'd be my guess. So kind of cool, because this does look like this is ready to go. Looks like it's formatted. It's a done deal. So kind of cool. I also noticed that there are some Dungeon Crawl Classics adventures that have been converted for 5th edition fantasy also, that are available as add-ons in this BackerKit project. So kind of cool. All right, some more folks are popping on into chat. Jose Fernandez is back with us again, as is 245 Trioxin, and Dark Autumn Scribe is popping on in. Very nice. Very cool. Moving right along. The first tabletop role-playing game, Humble Bundle, has arrived. That's right. I should say the first Humble Bundle of 2025 featuring tabletop role-playing games has arrived. It features Invisible Sun from Monte Cook Games, And I've got the deets on the deal. The ultimate Invisible Sun experience. Gather your friends for endless adventure with this gigantic bundle of tabletop role-playing game resources for the uber-popular title Invisible Sun. Our latest mega bundle by Monte Cook Games has everything you need to run the latest and greatest version of Invisible Sun. Get rulebooks, source books, and expansion campaigns like Secrets of Silent Streets, The Night Side, Book M, and more. Get everything you need to embark on an epic journey together and help support direct relief with your purchase. You think you live in the real world? I take a guess that most of us, probably not. Regardless, you don't. This world you see around you is shadow, a world illuminated only by the gray sun. You think it's your home, and that's because you have forgotten your true self. Awaken and return to the actuality in Satirin, the city under the indigo sun. You are Visley, a wielder of fabulous powers and capabilities, a shaper of reality itself. You sought shelter and shadow to escape the war, but now the war is over, and your home has called you back. Now you can jump in on this humble bundle for as little as $1, or you can go all in and score all 10 items for a minimum donation of $18 through January 31st. I gotta say, this is huge savings on Invisible Sun. If I remember right, now I don't know, I didn't go take a peek over on Drive-Thru RPG for this, but I seem to recall just the Invisible Sun cube in PDF when it came out was $100. I seem to remember that being the price. Now, what it is now, I don't know. But I believe it was like $99.99. Now you can get that and 9 other releases for it for $18. Pretty wild, gotta say. I don't know how well Invisible Sun went over. It's not really something that I ever see Monte Cook Games really promoting. Kind of weird. I mean, they promote Cypher System, of course, all the time. And Numenera a bit, but not as much as they once did. It's mostly, from what I see on social media, it's mostly Cypher System and some of those kind of licensed IPs that they've done are role-playing games for. So, some of those podcasts that they've done role-playing games for. So still, I got to say, $18, there's got to be like at least $18 worth of stuff you could crib from this for your role-playing game of choice. Gots to be. Moving right along, let's talk about another money-saving deal, because right now you can score big savings on the Hardwired Island role-playing game from Weird Age Games. And I've got the lowdown from Bundle of Holding. Adventura. This Hardwired Island bundle presents, well, you guessed it, Hardwired Island, a retro future post-cyberpunk tabletop role-playing game from Weird Age Games, inspired by 90s anime. Set in an alternate 2020 in Grand Cross, an O'Neill cylinder space colony orbiting Earth, Hardwired Island is about marginalized people using technology to try to change the status quo. The off-world cartel sells space exploration as a shared dream, but their true aim is control of Grand Cross and the future of space settlement. As their influence spreads, so does inequality and crime. If the next station election goes their way, the cartel will become the landlords of human space. Your group of Grand Cross citizens, fixers, hackers, influencers, soldiers, activists, investigative reporters, gig economy workers. Why does influencers stand out? What doesn't fit? right? People doing stuff. Influencers. It's like the old, what was it? Wasn't it Sesame Street or Electric Company? Which one of these just doesn't fit? I think it's the influencers. Anyway, all those folks, including those influencers, fight criminals, corrupt cops, hate groups, cartel androids, and the unchecked greed that bleeds your communities dry. If you do things right, you can lead Grand Cross to a better future. This new offer gives you the entire Hardwired Island line for just $12.95. You'll get all 6 titles in this Hardwired collection, which has a retail value of $64, as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete 400-page Hardwired Island core rulebook, along with the 3-scenario collection Tales from L5, the semi-serious occupation playbooks, The Reborn, and The Cat. There you go. I'm gonna get into a cyberpunk role-playing game, and I'm gonna play as a cat. It also includes the Hardwired Island soundtrack and a making of memoir, Hardwired Island Behind the Scenes. Got to point out, this is a pretty short bundle of holding. This is not going to be around for very long. In fact, it just launched a few days ago. It launched the end of last week, and it's only going to run through the 16th. So I think it was running from the 8th through the 16th. So if you are interested, act fast, because this looks kind of cool. I like the artwork. And it's got that anime inspiration, and the artwork looks really solid. So there is that. And of course, once again, talking about cribbing stuff, if you're running Cyberpunk Red or any other cyberpunk sort of role-playing game, guarantee there's some goodies here that you can easily crib from this to run in your cyberpunk role-playing game of choice. Very cool. Very nice. Sean O'Donnell points out Humble Bundle and Bundle of Holding are great for getting players in the door. Yeah, and every once in a while, you'll actually get like the entire collection from a game such as this, as far as these various different bundles. Warren Rollins is with us. Good to see you. Welcome aboard. Sean O'Donnell says influencers fight crime by accidentally catching it on film, then being the primary target for the criminals looking to erase any trail. Yeah, I was just joking with Elliot about this on the phone the other day, where it's like, I don't understand the people where, you know, you're on, say, like in Chicago, we've got the L, which is public transportation. It's a train. Somebody gets stabbed, and everybody just pulls their phones out to start recording it, as opposed to actually doing something about it. Insane. That's why you now have laws where it's like, yeah, if you see something like that and you're just sitting there streaming it, guess who's getting arrested and charged? All right. So there you have it. That is the bundle for Hardwired Island. Final news piece. The first collection of missions for the Triangle Agency role-playing game is beginning to land in stores from Haunted Table Games, and I've got the skinny on the vault. 12 designers, 12 missions, one hilarious and horrifying career. New to general management, looking to spice up your team's field work, or simply too busy to prepare? This book contains 12 anomaly retrieval missions and enough characters, locations, rival corporations, and new abilities to last an agent's entire career. Each mission is written and illustrated by a different duo, with oversight by the game's designers and edited by Will Jobst. Together, they paint a city as varied, complex, and dangerous as your yearly performance review. Here's what you can expect in each mission. The anomaly profile, a quick summary of the anomaly's history, appearance, focus, impulse, domain, and current situation. Pre-investigation notes, including a briefing for your agents, suggested scenes for morning meetings, optional objectives, new chaos effects, and special rules. The investigation, a scene-by-scene breakdown of the mission's characters, locations, and main events, designed for clarity and easy reference during play. An anomalous encounter with detailed guidance for each way your agents might approach the target anomaly. Plus, the aftermath, which highlights story threads and interesting loose ends that could become hooks for your own future missions, as well as vault requisitions and anomaly abilities, unlockable by your agents after the anomaly's fate is decided. This 215-page hardcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $30. Seems kind of unusual, but that is the MSRP that I've seen, and the imaging shows a hardcover, so I'm going to go with that. Now, you can still pre-order it over at hauntedtable.games. Or if you want to just score the PDF loan, you can do so right now over at Drive-Thru RPG for $15. A lot of people talking about Triangle Agency, although I think it's probably in your best interest to know that some of the pull quotes I have seen are not necessarily from reviewers that I put a lot of faith into. Now, I'm not knocking the game, right? I'm sharing a news piece for the first mission book for Triangle Agency. So it has piqued my interest. But when I see like pull quotes from Forbes, sort of like, yeah. Yeah. I'm just saying. But of course, once again, I'm sharing the news piece because I think this looks kind of interesting. I shared the core book last week, but yeah, I wanted to throw that out there. I'm seeing, a lot of really complimentary pull quotes, and some of them are sort of like, okay. It's like, there you go. There we have it. All righty. Kevin R. Smith is with us. Good to see you, Kevin. Thanks for joining us. So Pete Strackowitz says they saw a small child pull a piece of gum from under the seat on the train, and her mother ignored the kid. I gave the kid the no-no finger. It's my guess. That's the no-no finger. And pissed her off. She showed, I guess it's the kid. Kid showed the gum and then popped it in their mouth out of spite. All right. Okay. There you go. Here's the youth for you. I don't know what to tell you. All right, that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit Drive-Thru RPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, what have you, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get 5% of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, please swing by paypal.me/thegaminggang to make a small donation. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Oh, that's wet. And there are some of you who pop on by paypal.me, the gaming gang, and make not small donations, such as this month, Kevin King, Agile Monk, and the Madman. So tip of the cap to those of you out there who use the banner ads, and of course, visit, I almost said drive-through RPG. Duh! PayPal.me/the gaming gang. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. GameCat is popping on in. Talking about that's totally Gumpunk. The evil eye. Take a look at that with ya. Yeah. Reminds me of the episode of Mad Men. I was a big Mad Men fan. Mad Men. Yeah, I'm a fan of Mad Men too. He's a friend of the show. The episode where, it's in the, I want to say it's the first season, and the Drapers are having a party, and the kids are running around like lunatics, and one of the neighbors, one of the kids knocks something over, and the neighbor grabs the kid, and he's like, hey, smacks him right in the face. And the kid's dad is like, what happened? And he's like, oh, he ran around doing it. He's like, oh, okay. It's like, yeah, he takes a village. Turns out it says Pike Place Market gum wall as a setting. Is there a gum wall there? I mean, I've been to the market. I didn't notice a gum wall. I think I've only been there like once or twice. We are talking Seattle, right? I don't know. I mean, there could be another Pikes. I don't know. I have no idea. All righty then. So that's it for the news tonight. One thing I want to mention, and I don't want to throw people like into a tizzy, but I am considering bringing the live streams to an end. Not immediately. The reason is we're just not pulling the visitors. Just not getting the views. So I understand now. I haven't watched any of these videos. I have seen them popping up in my feed on YouTube. And in fact, I think Steven from Roll for Combat just did a video about this, how YouTube's not really promoting gamers like D&D promoters or influencers and stuff like that anymore, which to me, I think is kind of stupid. It's kind of like, well, if people want to see that, but yeah, I don't, who knows? It's YouTube doing their thing. But I don't think this is part of that. Because, I mean, we've never pulled tons of live viewers to start off with. And I'm not even talking about, it's not the number of live viewers, it's just the number of views that the videos get overall. So, and I've played with the format. I've messed around with the format. We did live reviews. We didn't do news. And then we only did news. And then we do like doing the news and then doing a topic. And it's always about the same. I mean, we did see a bump in viewership when I switched over to doing the news and then a topic. But now we're back to the same old 300-400 views on a video, unless it's something that somehow involves like D&D. And even those only bring in 1,200 views or so. So, I'm just kind of bouncing around because, and the thing is, it's like the flooding that if you tuned in late that happened this weekend, because essentially my dad was left to his own devices. You know, doing these live shows and stuff like that take a lot of time. It may not seem like it. You might be out there going, oh, well, what did it take you? Like 15 minutes to get all this ready here, Jeff? I mean, come on. So I don't know. I'm just floating it out there. It's not like I'm going to end the channel or anything like that. But, you know, and I really do like doing the live streams and stuff, but it's, you know, it's kind of getting to the point where it's like, all right, I guess we're always going to be locked into 300 to 400 views. And it's like, okay, so if it's 300 to 400 views, then, you know, it would probably make more sense to just be like, okay, we're just doing the game news. That's it. As opposed to, you know, trying to put together a topic and stuff like that. So, Kevin R. Smith says the issue is more that YouTube won't promote a channel that falls far from a great height, not specifically about D&D content. Aha. Well, thank you, Kevin. Like I said, I don't know. Once again, it's those clickbaity titles that you see, which I get it. I should probably do that, but it's just not my thing. I'm not a bait and switch kind of guy. It's not like, oh, hey, I'm going to be showing you this. And then be like, oh, I didn't show you that. So like, it's like, ugh. So Pete's Dracula says that I'm the highlight of their day. I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you. Gleeman RX says the same. They look forward to every show. And yes, we've got a nice group of live viewers who tune in. I mean, that's kind of funny because there are some of the live streams that you'll see, say, over from Board Game Geek, that the dispatch actually pulls about the same number of live viewers on as some of those shows do. So it's kind of like, oh, hey, yeah, all right. Okay. I mean, there's been a few times we've had over 150 live viewers. It's usually like a title of the video is like why Wizards of the Coast can go fuck themselves or something. I know it's never been the title of the video, but you know what I mean. Just like tomorrow's topic is, why do you hate the role-playing game I love? So we'll be talking about that. And that is more going to be a topic along the lines of, why do you have these people out there who get all worked up about stuff that they don't even play? Mainly D&D, but it's still for the whole, you know, the routine of people like, oh, I hate that game, blah, blah. Who cares? You're not playing it. So what? So that's going to be on tomorrow's show. So that'll be our topic on our Wednesday show. Cold War Tuesday is popping on in. Says 24-hour plus streamathons to kill your health. Looks at older Twitch account. I've never done a 24-hour plus. Well, I've never done a 24-hour stream. I did a 12-hour stream, and that was for Extra Life. We did that. So we did that. Sean O'Donnell says Professor DM was saying that he has like 30% clickbaity titles to pay the bills. I get it. I understand that. Says guy has cancer, so can't really argue. I did not know that. Sorry to hear that. But even if he didn't, I still can't argue that. And yes, actually, I think I saw a little clip from that video where he was talking about, yeah, he does the clickbait titles to pay the bills. So Cold War Tuesday says, hello, and yeah, I wish I could make more of these on the regular. Well, welcome aboard. Mike says, yeah, this live show is part of their hobby beginnings. Yes. Like I said, I'm just kicking it around. It's maybe I'm just frazzled because of this weekend or something. I don't know. But I mean, it did get me thinking. It did get me thinking. But, it's not as if, excuse me, the channel's going anywhere. Not like the website's going anywhere. In fact, speaking of this weekend, since, there was a lot of dampness that I did not want to have to deal with, I actually went through and started really digging deep into thegaminggang.com and changing stuff because the website's been around since 2010. So there are a lot of interior links which are not secured. So they were HTTP, even though I do have an SSL on the website. And I was using a plugin to force those to be in HTTPS, blah, blah, blah. I know, a little too much inside baseball. But that is kind of a ding on your SEO. So I actually went in there and little by little, I'm getting everything up to 2025 snuff on thegaminggang.com. And I'm almost done, amazingly enough. GameCat says you're just not controversial enough, Jeff. Got to wade into this shit with the rest of humanity to get them eyeballs. But the weird thing is, I'm not a controversial person, really. Yeah, okay, so we did the video about, why, having your players fill out, or players showing up to your table with something that they've filled out, saying what's okay, what's not okay, what they want in the game, blah, 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 wouldn't fly with me. And a couple of people on social media were very upset by that. And I was like, whatever, I don't give a shit. I'm like, you're not me. I don't fucking care. So anyway, but funny enough, I don't want to have to be some jerk off. Just like when I said, I mentioned this on social media, I was like, and on our community page, that in 2025, I was going to call out publishers for bad behavior. And somebody had said, oh, anti-hero Jeff. Like the Elric of, well, I know, I used to always say Melnibane, but it's Melnibane is the correct pronunciation. And I kind of laughed at that, but that's not really me. So, and funny enough, one of the publishers I was going to call out actually did get back to me about something. And I'm like, okay, all right. So your behavior's fine. Another one that I have reached out, you know what? I might as well just say it right here. I have reached out to EN Publishing on multiple occasions over the years. I have reached out to various different email accounts from EN Publishing over the years. I just in December reached out to Morris himself, who is, I believe he's the owner. He's the owner operator of N World and N Publishing. And all I've been asking is, hey, do me a favor, add me to your press list when you're releasing news items about, like, Level Up and stuff like that. And I know my audience would be curious to get closer looks at stuff if they would be, interested at any point in having me do some reviews. But that's not what, the main gist of the email is. It's like, hey, just throw me onto your press list when you do an email blast. Then I don't have to go searching around for it or stumble across it. I have never, ever received a response. Doesn't matter which email address I have reached out to, and I have not, presented the email like, oh, gimme, because that's not how I do things. But no, no one has ever bothered to respond. And I don't know if it's because, oh, well, N-World looks at me as like I'm the competition, which is stupid. I don't know. Agile Monk's with us. Says, hello, Jeff and the GG community. It would be TGG because it is the gaming gang. Capital T on that B. Sharon Down says, weird. That's a bummer because I'm right. They would love to see content about Level Up. I get it. And then they've also done stuff like What's Old is New. Wasn't that EN Publishing? EN Publishing, I should say. I don't know. Anywho. So, but yeah, I mean, in my opinion, that's bad behavior. To me, that's bad behavior. If they had no interest, if they could anybody could just email back saying, no, it's okay. If you stumble across our news, you want to share it, that's great, but it doesn't matter to us. That'd be fine. At least someone would actually have taken a moment to respond. But I've reached out over the years, probably 7, maybe 8 times through, various email addresses that I've ran across. And then, like I said, finally in December, I thought, well, might as well just, which I normally wouldn't do. I wouldn't just reach out to the owner unless it's a small company. But I thought, okay, I'm going to take one last shot. And basically it boils down to, well, if you completely ignore me, then why would I share news about any of your products anymore? Because it's not as if I haven't shared a lot of news about EN Publishing releases. So, Sharon says, makes me wonder if that's normal for them, though. I don't see much news about them except from them. Yeah, but the thing is, you mean from EN World? I don't know. But the thing is, if that were the case, then it would be nice to just have somebody email back and say, well, we don't really have a press list, Jeff. And I'd be like, oh, okay, thanks. Thanks for letting me know. Because in the past, over the years, I have reached out to publishers, and I have had, on occasion, a publisher get back to me and say, we actually don't really shoot out email blasts, but if you like, we can let you know when we got stuff coming out. I'm like, well, yeah, okay. And they did. Sean Donald says, yeah, still a dick move. Yeah, what can I tell you? Well, like I said, ain't gonna. Agile Monk with a super chat for $9.99. Says, Jeff and live streams are like peanut butter and jelly and steak and potatoes for the TGG community. Stay strong, Jeff. Thank you. Thank you very much, Agile Monk. In fact, gave you a shout out right before you arrived on the scene, I believe, tonight. So we are going to talk about the Call of Cthulhu adventure, Mister Corbitt, in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's refreshment time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Hey, Mom. Yes, you. Why fuss and fret about dinner? Why not have it right here? Yes, this drive-in offers everyone in the family a real picnic treat for dinner. We've got delicious sandwiches with all the trimmings and your other dinner favorites, plus whatever you want to drink, hot or cold. Come early before the show starts, or eat while you're being entertained, or at intermission time. So why fuss? Give your family a tasty dinner at this drive-in.
If I was a mountain climber, I'd yodel loud and clear. For Bush Bavarian beer.
Bush Bavarian beer. It's America's new taste in beer. For that take, time for fun, kind of living.
If I was you, I'd yodel for Bush Bavarian, too.
This machine will make you want a cup of Wilkins coffee.
Not me. I'll take mine with cream and sugar.
And now, boys and girls, here is what you get when you join the Secret Squadron. This membership card with your very own Secret Squadron number, this official Secret Squadron manual, and this combination badge and decoder. Look, here's how the decoder works. I'll give you a two-word clue. The second word is in our secret code. The first word is watch. Now, here is the secret code word. Write down these numbers. 17, 3, 20. Now, set your secret decoder like this. For code A3. Then decode this important clue to next week's adventure. If you don't have your decoder badge, here's how you can get one for your very own. First, get a jar of the official Secret Squadron drink, delicious chocolate-flavored Ovaltine, the food drink for rocket power. Then cut out the wax paper disc that covers the Ovaltine jar. And send that disc with your name, your address, to me, Captain Midnight, Box P, Chicago 77, Illinois. That's all. Send no money. It's free to every boy and girl who joins the Secret Squadron. And when you receive your secret decoder badge, membership card with your very own Secret Squadron number, and 12-page manual, you will be a full-fledged member. Remember, get your Ovaltine, the food drink for rocket power. Hot or cold, it's got what it takes to help you be a leader in your gang. So every day, drink instant Ovaltine.
Son of a bitch. A commercial? Yes, there you go. Kevin R. Smith, message number 2. Be sure to drink your Ovaltine. Sharon O'Donnell said they tried Ovaltine for the first time just last year. It does not suck. No, it doesn't. Ovaltine's pretty good. I remember as a kid, it was a treat. If, we could have some Ovaltine. All right, sweet. Because we didn't get a lot of chocolate milk. And we got snacks. Don't get me wrong. We weren't one of those houses where it's like, well, you can have a grape. No, there was candy and cookies and cake and stuff like that, but not like tons. But, like with dinner, it was white milk, not chocolate milk. Maybe you got chocolate milk if you were out, at a restaurant or something like that, which, funny enough, most restaurants make really shitty chocolate milk. So, but yeah, we get some Ovaltine once in a while. Get some vitamins. Yeah, some vitamins in your Ovaltine. Very nice. Very nice. And Doom Colonist is with us. Says they believe Ovaltine may be different in the UK. Here it tastes exactly as it looks. Like chalk. like brown chalk. Now, well, I got to be honest. It's been years since I had Ovaltine. So like everything, I'm sure it's nowhere near as good as it once was. I'm sure that's a given. Just like I tell people all the time, Dr. Pepper is nowhere near what it once was. Dr. Pepper used to have a bit of a kind of a spicy zing to it. We're talking like the 80s, maybe even in the 90s. I was not a big Dr. Pepper drinker. I know in like Texas, Dr. Pepper is huge, or at least it once was. I don't know if it still is. They could probably tell you, the difference. But yeah, it was kind of funny. Dr. Pepper used to have, you'd be like, wow, that's got a little zing to it. Now it's sort of like, huh? Oh, this is Dr. Pepper? Yeah, okay. All righty. So it's time for another Cthulhuesday. And this evening, I am going to be diving on into Mister Corbitt for Call of Cthulhu. It is written by Sean DeWolf with an update from Lynn Hardy in this edition of the adventure. This originally appeared in Mansions of Madness for the second edition of Call of Cthulhu. That is when I ran it for the first time. Now, this comes in the most recent edition of Mansions of Madness, Volume 1, Behind Closed Doors. Sadly, we do see the eventual fate of Dr. Neil Tyson DeGrasse here on the cover, sadly enough. It's just weird. The artwork looks like Neil Tyson DeGrasse. So Mr. Corbitt is a beginning adventure, but I have to say that this probably has a few more complexities to it than some other starting investigator adventures out there. In fact, in Mansions of Madness, these are mostly, starting adventures. Strangely enough, that seems to be kind of the direction that Chaosium Inc. has gone in with a lot of their recent Call of Cthulhu volumes that have come out, the volumes of adventures and stuff. They do tend to be for less experienced investigators. I guess part of it is probably because of the total party kills that sometimes will happen, depending on how the keeper is running their campaign of Call of Cthulhu. So I could see that. Doom Colonist says, loving the idea of these close looks at Call of Cthulhu adventures. I have to try to make sure I can get along to each one. So I should point out that there are going to be spoilers. There's no avoiding them. So this segment is pretty much a keepers only kind of segment. So we're going to discuss this in a little bit of depth. I'm going to talk about different ways to approach this adventure and kind of talk about when I ran it years and years ago, what kind of happened. Now, I will point out that this has been expanded a bit. There wasn't as much going on in the original adventure. I don't recall. I mean, the main premise is still the same, but there's some extra things, like there's a garden that's in this that I don't remember in the original. Well, it's a greenhouse, if I remember correctly. I don't remember that being in the second edition Call of Cthulhu version of this. Although, sadly, I don't have that book any longer, so I was not able to check it out. Doom Colonist says spoilers are cool with them because they're a forever game master. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. If they ever get invited to play in a game at this point, they might die of shock. It's every few years that I actually get an opportunity to play in something, and normally it's because I've gone to a convention and we're actually getting into something. Pete Strakowicz was talking about Jolt Cola. I remember that. I never drank it, though. I think I tried it once, and I was like, whatever. Tastes like crappy generic cola. All right. So the premise of this is that the investigator or investigators, however, because this makes a pretty good adventure to run just one-on-one, one keeper, one investigator. Although the reality is I would probably recommend having at least 2 investigators or have an NPC accompanying the investigator for a few different reasons. Because, I mean, there are some things that can happen here that if it's just one investigator or if it's somebody alone, it's going to be like, oh, there you go. That's the end of the adventure. Sorry. Thanks for playing. I know you're not going to ever find out what happened. So your player characters are going to live in a neighborhood, and it's supposed to be kind of upper middle class kind of neighborhood. It's not necessarily important to be very affluent in this adventure. It doesn't have to be a very affluent neighborhood in this adventure, but it's supposed to be like upper middle class. And one of the player characters' neighbors is, in fact, here he is. Here's our image of Mister Corbitt. He's just sort of is a nebbish kind of character. And what I would probably recommend if you're running this and you understand the reference I'm about to make, this is how I pretty much role played Mr. Corbitt. I role played him as Don Knotts in The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. That was his persona that he gave off to the player characters. And of course, he's far more than, a Don Knotts character in a movie. So the premise of this is sort of along the lines of Neighbors. And then what is that movie with The Burbs with Tom Hanks and that one comedian who sadly passed away long before he should have. He was pretty young when he passed away. Bruce Dern is in it. And there's like weird goings on at the house in the neighborhood. That's what the premise of this is. That it starts out kind of small, and then the player characters notice some kind of weird goings on, and they start to investigate, and they get pulled further and further into this adventure. So the whole premise is that Mr. Corbitt, and it's either Bernard or Bernard. I use the name Bernard Corbitt because the premise is when he was a teenager, he accompanied his father to India, and his father was killed by Yog Sothoth during a ritual in that. And of course, that drove Bernard mad. Well, he's got even a split personality. So it drove him to have a split personality. So the one personality that I point out with being like Don Knotts and the Ghost of Mr. Chicken, that's one of his personalities. So following his return from that adventure with his father, he actually marries, and he's a worshiper of Yog Sothoth, and he actually has the Great Old One impregnate his wife. She gives birth. She dies during childbirth. The more normal of the children also dies in childbirth. And then the freakish monstrosity lives. And Mr. Corbitt keeps it alive in his basement. And he's actually adding to it, let's say. He is stitching on additional limbs and appendages and stuff like that to the creature. In fact, this is supposed to be what it looks like. I got to be honest, I actually like the artwork because I've seen the artwork of the child thing, is how it's referred in the original. It's kind of almost like an oblong footballish shape, although it's large. And it's got all these feet and arms and mouths and stuff all over the place. And various like sphincters and stuff. So, yes. Anyway. Bradley Thorpe says, I need to review the Game Master's book of Instant Towns and Cities. Are you talking about the Cobalt Press Cities and Towns campaign builder? Because I did review that. I'm 99% positive I've got a review of it. I know that I did a first look at it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did a review. And it was positive. All right. So anyway, there's all these little encounters, little set pieces that take place in this adventure that just keeps driving things home, that something just isn't quite right. So one of the things I really like about this adventure is that it is really Lovecraftian. If you think about it, when you take a look at the adventure and you see what's pretty much, at the heart of it, it is very much in tune with the mythos stories. Because, for one, it's our antagonist is essentially somebody who kind of finds themselves drawn into all of this, not through their own choice, because they were a child. And it's kind of funny because even though Mr. Corbitt is using all these different body parts, he's not a killer. He's not a murderer. So this is an adventure that really provides for a lot of moral tightrope walking. Because what will eventually happen here is that the player characters will start investigating all these various different leads, as they do in Call of Cthulhu adventures. They start tying things together. And then, of course, they want to get into this house because they know something is going on in this house. I like this picture here where they encounter Mr. Corbitt. He's got this package, and the package is a liver and a child's foot, or child's leg, I think, if I remember right. And he's trying to hide what it is because he's got it wrapped up, and he tells him it's like branches of trees, tree branches with some sort of fungus that he's studying. So the player characters are going to eventually break into the house, and here we encounter really nothing too strange as far as the house itself. Now, when they get out to the greenhouse, there are some otherworldly plants that could provide a real issue if it's only one investigator. If it's only one investigator, you don't have an NPC or anything like that, because there are some of these flowers that could actually end up incapacitating a player character. And if that's the case, well, then that'll be the end. That would be one of those situations where it's like, okay, well, end of the game. Thanks for playing. Well, wait a second. Well, no, I mean, nobody else is there to pick up the threads, right? Peter Actowitz says they've noticed that investigation scenarios go really far with their group. It gets everyone involved, trying zany ideas. As far as that book, it's from Jeff Ashworth. I'm not familiar with him. With forward by Bob the World Builder. Well, then right there, I don't want to read it. I'm joking. I got nothing against Bob the World Builder. I don't really have anything against anybody who covers games and stuff. I'm not overly familiar with his work, though. I got to be honest. I don't think I've ever watched one of his videos. I mean, I know what he looks like, but, funny enough, I think I see more of him being referenced in other people's thumbnails on their videos than I actually see thumbnails from his videos. Kind of weird. All right. So anyway, keeping in mind the greenhouse, well, it's not necessarily a meat grinder. It could put a single player character in a tough spot. So the house itself isn't really, the upper levels, I guess I'll say, of the house really don't hold a lot of strangeness, although the player characters will get a copy of a journal. And I have to say that I wish we didn't get these handouts handwritten. It's not terrible as far as seeing these, like making them out. Like sometimes we'll get handwritten handouts where it's like, what? Seriously? I can't make that out. And of course, thankfully, you usually have the text itself available to you. I don't remember. I don't think it's in this adventure, though. I think you actually have to go to chaosium.com and download the plain text of these. Because the funny thing is, what I have found is that when I hand out a handout that's supposed to be handwritten to my gang and they can't make it out, that means I've got to read it. So I have to go read the entirety of, as an example here, I think my players could make this out. For the most part, it's not, like I said, it's not terrible. But unfortunately, we don't have the plain text for that. You have to download it. Which, I mean, the reality is, situations like that, you can always give them the handouts and then give them a printout of what it actually says. Doom Colonist says, I feel now a need a completely manufactured beef between Jeff and Bob the World Builder. Fight, fight, fight. I got to be honest. I don't think that's a fight I'm going to win. Well, I don't mean like physical. I'm talking about like viewership and stuff. I'd get blown out of the water. Yeah, Kevin Smith said, then we live stream it on the Dispatch to get views. And then the winner fights Logan Paul. Oh yeah, that fight. Oh man, I made the mistake of watching that. Staying up to watch that. I was like, wow, the fix was in, eh? Yeah, that is for sure. Because the reality, and Mike Tyson had his problems and things like that. And it's like, I don't condone a lot of his, let's say, behavior over the years. But I mean, he did go to prison. He did his time. But, man, it was pretty obvious. They were trying to keep him on his feet. So Kevin R. Smith says Bob's a pretty skinny guy. All right, enough of that. There's not going to be any fight. All right. So anyway, eventually the player characters are going to make their way, hopefully make their way into the basement. And that is when they'll find the child thing, as well as this woman who is insane. And it's very possible that they can both escape if the player characters don't play things right. So the issue that comes up with this that the players are going to have to deal with is, what are they going to do with this child thing? Right? So Mr. Corbitt, while insane, and he's not necessarily in league with Yog-Sothoth, but he worships Yog-Sothoth and he takes instructions from him, because all the things he's like stitching on to this child thing is by, you know, it's not necessarily instructed to him, but he is kind of being pushed to do this by the great old one, right? It's not of his own free choice. And essentially this child thing has some purpose to serve for Yog-Sothoth. But the thing is, Mr. Corbitt isn't evil because it is his child, more or less. And he's not murdering anyone. He's not killing anybody. He's getting these, well, it's repugnant how he's going about getting these body parts. He's not causing harm to anyone, physical harm or anything like that. So it kind of boils down to, what are the player characters going to do? Now, the funny thing is that most players that I know, not necessarily everybody in my gang, because I've run this, I know what my gang did, and I'll tell you in just a couple of moments what they ended up doing. But I think the approach that you would see by most players out there would be, they're just going to kill the child thing. They're going to destroy the woman thing. I don't recall. I think that's what it is. I think that's what she is called, is the woman thing. And just like blow Mr. Corbitt away. That, I think, is what a vast majority of people are going to be doing in this adventure. That's not how my players approached it. They tried to get Mr. Corbitt help. And because the adventure was being run as a one-shot, so it was not part of an ongoing campaign. It wasn't something to kick off a campaign. It was just as a one-shot. They took upon themselves the care of the child thing. Because it kind of falls into that whole, okay, well, we got these orc babies. What are we supposed to do? But all in all, this is actually a pretty interesting adventure. And because I think what really sets it apart is that it does provide some dilemmas for the player characters to, try to deal with. I also like it because a clever keeper can utilize different things to make the strange turn out to be very mundane, to kind of throw the players off a little bit. Now, my players who played Call of Cthulhu with me for, like, as an example, like Elliot, for a long time, they know I'm not big on red herrings. So they're kind of like, they're like, okay, well, we still know there's something really here. Even though something else that I think a lot of players might turn to is calling the police. There is a little side box that talks about bringing in the police, and it won't end well for really anybody involved. So that's kind of interesting there too. I would kind of play it off like if the investigators contact the police and they come across as being kind of loony, the police will be like, no. That they would really have to be able to present some real evidence of something going on for the police to actually show up. Not just, call in some, bizarre, like occurrence and that they're going to come and, break into the house and stuff like that. Anyway, all in all, I do like Mr. Corbitt quite a bit. Once again, I think an aspect of this adventure that really makes it stand out is that it really does feel like a Lovecraft story. It really does. So, like it quite a lot. And who was it? Just Showdown Down says, now 10 years later, Jeff has come up with a voice for the Child Thing NPC. I think I just made like weird noises as far as running it. I was sort of like, yeah. Because the Child Thing always is looking to be fed. It's kind of like Simon's cat, if you're familiar with Simon's cat. It's sort of always looking to be fed. So, of course, I tried to, channel a hungry baby and like a monstrous thing together. Feed me more. What the hell is it Morris? It's been so long since I saw, God, now I can't, Little Shop of Horrors. I was going to say, now I can't even remember the name of it. Granted, I only saw it once. Feed me. Feed me. Anyway, Mr. Corbitt, good adventure for one or two investigators. I mean, you can have more than one or two. If you got a normal group of 4 players, yeah, it's fine. Gives you some opportunity where it's okay if you, that's it. Seymour. Thank you, Sarah. Feed me, Seymour. Clement RX says, I was thinking Eraserhead. Yeah. I saw that movie once. I'll never forget that. Tomb Colonist says, now they've got an image of the Child Thing doing all the things Simon's cat does, including the pointing at the mouth thing. Anyway, I like this adventure. I think you can mess with your players' heads a little bit with this. Like I said, unfortunately, my players know that I'm not a big red herring guy, because to me, this is the way I look at red herrings. You've got a limited amount of time to be able to play, right? So, yes, sometimes red herrings do allow for some little interesting sidebars to your adventure, to your campaign. But normally, players do not appreciate investing a lot of time and energy into looking into something that turns out to be a red herring. Now, when I say that, I don't mean players get a little ticked off when they happen to go down an avenue that leads to something that's not necessarily connected to the adventure, but there's still stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff in Massive Nyarlathotep that's like that, especially in the chapter on England, or the portion that's in England. But where it's a red herring, where the players investigate something and they invest time into it, and then it turns out it's like, no, it's nothing at all. They don't like that. So that's why I don't tend to really delve too deeply into red herrings. Sean O'Donnell says, Marcelita! as far as the voices. So there you have it. Talking about Mr. Corbitt with some spoilers, but actually kind of staying relatively spoiler free. All the details I didn't discuss. And of course, this is available in Mansions of Madness Volume 1 behind closed doors from our friends over at Chaosium Inc. Very nice. Very cool. It has been a long time since I ran that adventure. That's why I said I don't recall in the original edition, which had to have come out, late 80s, maybe early 90s. I'm gonna guess late 80s. I don't recall there being the greenhouse, but I might be wrong. All right. Shonadal says they're doing abomination vaults. They try not to give anything away that doesn't relate to something worth experience points or gold later on. Screwed that early on. We spent a whole 2 sessions on something unrelated. Pete Straklich says, where does this rank in my favorites? It's not in the top 10. I thought for the Cthulhuesdays that we were kind of focused on some of the starter adventures, beginning investigator adventures that I do like. Most of my favorite Call of Cthulhu adventures aren't really in print anymore. And I don't even know if they're in PDF. And I don't have them. In fact, Elliot has, I think he still does, unless he decided to sell them. He had all of the Call of Cthulhu stuff that I had over, the first 20 years or so of Call of Cthulhu, me running Call of Cthulhu. I don't know if he still got those or not. To be honest, he probably sold them on eBay, which is fine. I mean, he bought them from me, and he got a rocking deal on them. But I don't, like I said, I don't think he still has them. But Horror's Heart, which is it's a rather complex Call of Cthulhu adventure, and it's certainly not a perfect Call of Cthulhu adventure. There are tweaks that I would make to it, and I remember when I ran it, I made some changes to it. Some of it to actually speed it up, even though it was still a long kind of campaign. But I don't think you can get your hands on that anymore, sadly. But yeah, a lot of my favorite Call of Cthulhu adventures are from way back. And I mean, we've got some decent adventures that have popped up. Sadly, the last collection, I think it's the last collection of adventures that came out, Order of the Stone. I mean, it was a campaign. It was kind of like, It was it was all right. It was okay. It wasn't all that great. To me, it was a disappointment. So we're supposed to have some other Call of Cthulhu stuff coming out. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I mean, I know we've got the Game Master, or I should say, the Keeper's Guide for Cthulhu by Gaslight, but I thought there's 1 or 2 adventure collections that are on the horizon, and I'm always looking forward to more Call of Cthulhu from Chaosium Inc. because normally it's at least good or better. Normally. On occasion, yeah, we get some kind of clunkers. Like I said, the Order of the Stone. Alrighty, so that is it for this time out. Tomorrow's show, once again, the topic is going to be, why do you hate we're going to do, why do you hate the role-playing game I love? And we're going to talk about some of the attitude that's out there that's just really bizarre as far as just the unbridled hatred that some of these, online nutbags have for other people's role-playing games that they enjoy. We talked about this a little bit before, and we'll get into it a little bit more about how I just don't understand it. I don't get it. And to me, it's just a waste of time. So Yaroslav S.I., 365 cups of coffee, says hello from the Czech Republic. Well, hello. Welcome aboard. Doomed Colonist, wasn't there a Cthulhu in space style supplement coming out sometime? I don't know. I'll be very honest. Chaosium Inc. can be kind of hit or miss on like sharing information about what they've got, in the pipeline as far as releases that are upcoming. I think they have, you find out more information by like watching some of their videos and that maybe doesn't make it to the website. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to sit and watch videos from publishers to get news. I need to get press releases, sell sheet info, stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a Cthulhu in space supplement that's coming out. I know there are other Lovecraftian horror role-playing games that have been out there. So, and I think there's one, I think it's fairly old. When I say fairly old, I mean, 10 years. I don't mean like 30. Isn't it Cthulhu Tech? Wasn't that the title of a role-playing game? And I thought that was supposed to be Lovecraftian science fiction. I could be wrong. I mean, I never had an opportunity to really check it out. I don't know. I do not know. Alrighty, so that's going to be on tomorrow's show. Why do you hate the role-playing game I love? And I'll do some sort of oddball thumbnail where I'm like, looking all confused or some shit like that. All righty. So if you were watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live, took part in chat, much appreciated, because you're not only keeping me company, you're keeping each other company as I ramble on about various different things. But of course, I know a lot of folks out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Really do appreciate you taking time out to watch any of the 2,100 videos that are here on the channel. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings currently here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I share other videos, such as tomorrow's review of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Tribes and Tribulations. Yes, it will be up in the morning if you want to check that out. And of course, once again, currently on Kickstarter is the 50th anniversary deluxe limited edition of Quebec 1759. Check that out. I've got it's a Kickstarter preview, but it's really a review. I even give it a review score. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and as always, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.